Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Continue reading from Srimad Bhagavatam Canto 3, Chapter 26. We have been reading the text 5. Already started the purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. I'll just quickly read the translation again. Divided into varieties by her threefold modes, material nature creates the forms of the living entities, and the living entities, seeing this, are illusioned by the knowledge covering feature of the illusory energy. Knowledge covering feature of the illusory energy. So we are covered by Maya Devi. She puts us in ignorance. She covers our real knowledge. So it is a fact that there are two classes of men, those who are obedient to the laws of the Supreme Lord and those who are atheists or agnostics, who do not accept the existence of God and who want to create their own laws. So there are some who obey the laws of the Supreme Lord, and then there are some who don't. They want to establish that everyone can create his own laws or his own religious path. Without tracing out the beginning of the existence of these two classes, we can take it for granted that some of the living entities revolted against the laws of the Lord. Such entities are called conditioned souls, for they are conditioned by the three modes of material nature. Therefore, the words Guner Vichitraha are used here. So those who obey the laws of the Supreme Lord and those who don't. The reason, for example, why some certain citizens are put in the prison is because they don't obey the laws of the country. They go against the law of the country. And that's the reason they are put into prison. Similarly, we, the conditioned souls, we are put into this material world because at one point we decided we don't want to follow the laws of God. So we are conditioned by the three modes of material nature. You see, this material world is ruled by these three modes of material nature: goodness, passion, and ignorance. And the spiritual world is ruled by the Sandhini, Samvit, and Hladini, potency of the Supreme Lord. That's how it is ruled. The Chit Shakti, the Sat Shakti, and the Ananda Shakti. So just by being in the spiritual world, we feel happy, we get knowledge, and it's eternal life. There's no birth and death. Now, just being in the material world, we get entangled in this birth, death, old age, and disease. In this material world, there are 8,400,000 species of life. As spirit souls, they're all transcendental to this material world. Why then do they exhibit themselves in different stages of life? The answer is given here. They are under the spell of the three modes of material nature. Because they were created by the material energy, their bodies are made of the material elements. Covered by the material body, the spiritual identity is lost, and therefore the word mumuhe is used here, indicating that they have forgotten their own spiritual identity. So we see 8,400,000 species. We can't see all of them, but we know when we are reading from the Shastras, but we also see that how there's varieties of trees that we can see, variety of birds, animals, aquatic, and human beings. We can see that. And there are 8,400,000. Why? Why there are so many species? It's based on our desire. Our desire. So under the condition of modes, there are these three modes: goodness, passion, and ignorance. When they are 3 times 3 becomes 9, 9 times 9 becomes 81, like that. Combining into each other, they come to 8,400,000, depending on the different desires and different degrees of the modes. So we are the spirit soul. We are spirit soul right now. We are in this material world and we are taking one body after another. And these bodies are made of material elements. Now, because we are covered by the material body, which is made of material element, we have forgotten that we are spirit soul. And we are thinking, I'm the body, you are the body, and everyone that I'm seeing is the body. This forgetfulness of spiritual identity is present in the jivas or souls who are conditioned, being subject to be covered by the energy of material nature. So because of our desire to become independent than Krishna, what happens? We can come under the laws of material nature. It's like we are living in country Taiwan. So we are subject to follow the laws of this country. If we say, no, 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 I don't want to follow the laws of the country, how can we? Again, we'll be put into a facility to rectify ourselves. So because we have this desire to be independent than God, we are put in this facility of material nature. And material nature, there are laws. There are laws here. So we are entangled here, entangled. Jnana guhaya is another word used. Guha means covering. Because the knowledge of the minute conditioned souls is covered, they are exhibited in so many species of life. So our knowledge is covered. We are thinking we are the body, we need to enjoy. We are keeping on getting many desires. As we have the desire, as that body we get. It is said in the Srimad Bhagavatam, 1st Canto, 7th chapter, the living entities are illusioned by the material energy. In the Vedas also it is stated that the eternal living entities are covered by different modes and that they are called tri-colored, red, white, and blue living entities. Red is the representation of the mode of passion, white is the representation of the mode of goodness, and blue is the representation of the mode of ignorance. These modes of material nature belong to the material energy, and therefore the living entities under these different modes of material nature are different kind of material bodies. Because they are forgetful of their spiritual identities, they think the material bodies to be themselves. So we think, yes, I am this body. I means body. That's what we think. I am an individual because of the body. So if I give up this body, then I don't exist. So we think I am the body. I am material. This is how Maya Devi is covering our true knowledge. To the conditioned soul, me means the material body. This is called moha or bewilderment. So we are saying me, that is me. Me means I means material body. And this is our illusion. This is how Maya Devi is entrapped us. It is repeatedly said in the Katha that the Supreme Personality of Godhead is never affected by the influence of material nature. So Krishna never thinks he's a body. He never thinks he's a product of material nature. It is rather the conditioned souls or the minute infinitesimal parts and parcels of the Supreme who are affected by the influence of material nature and who appear in different bodies under the material modes. So Krishna, he is the Supreme Lord. He is the one who's created the material energy. He is the one who's created the modes of material nature. He is the one who's created the laws of material nature. So he never gets bewildered. He never forgets his true identity. But we, although we are parts and parcels of God, but because we are minute, so we have this tendency to come under the influence of the material nature. Any comments? Anything
Why
to
is
add?
the tri-colored mention? Red, blue, white.
So the modes, the modes are represented, like the modes are represented in these three colors. Red, the red color represents mode of passion, white is goodness, and blue is the mode of ignorance. So red, passion, lot of activity, goodness, white, peace, calm, ignorance, blue, too much tamas. That's how it's called. That's how it's called. So you mean, I'm not sure if it means that the color of the body, because some living entity has a red colored body.
Does it
so
show,
I'm not sure.
doesn't, does it show anywhere like these colors? Or maybe it's just
sorry?
like, that's what I'm trying to wonder, like understand why does it mention that colors, no?
Yeah, so I'm not sure, is it that some living entity has a red colored body, that means that body is in the mode of passion, but we don't see human beings in red color, that we're human beings, we are a lot of in the mode of passion. That's the reason we are always wanting to do, always passionate, so many desires we have, human beings. So that, this is more like representing the color, which represents
like white.
the mood.
White is purity. So the goodness. Okay, that makes sense. Yeah. And blue, in fact, like Krishna, we always say Krishna is blue, right?
Krishna is blue.
So why here it is said like, mode of ignorance?
Yeah, I don't know, that's what
But
the Vedas
I
are
think
saying.
that is the spiritual and the material difference.
Yes,
this is material.
Yes, of course.
Yeah, because this is, we are talking about the material, no?
Yes.
Covered by Maya, but Krishna is not. So he is above all that.
Yes, very good. Thank you. Thank you. So if further detail, I'm not sure exactly, but anyway, this is what it is being said, that the modes have these, represented by these colors. So we can read on. Evam para vidhyanena kartretvam prakrite puman karmasu kriya maneshu guner atmani manyate. Because of his forgetfulness, the transcendental living entity accepts the influence of material energy as his field of activities. And thus actuated, he wrongly applies the activities to himself. Because of his forgetfulness, the transcendental living entity accepts the influence of material energy as his field of activities. And thus actuated, he wrongly applies the activities to himself. We have forgotten. We have forgotten who we are. We've forgotten our true identity, that we are spirit souls, and we are thinking we are the body, and all these activities that we are so busy doing. We think this is who I am. This is who I am. So we keep on thinking I'm the body. The forgetful living entity can be compared to a man who is under the influence of a disease and has become mad, or to a man haunted by ghosts who acts without control and yet thinks himself to be in control. So why is it saying that? Why is Prabhupada saying forgetful living entity can be compared to a man who is under the influence of a disease and has become mad, or to a man haunted by ghosts who acts without control and yet thinks himself to be in control? Why?
Because that is demonic qualities. They forget, right? That's their nature, goes.
Yes. And then what happens? When we are possessed by ghost, then I forget who I actually am and what I'm supposed to do, and I behave in a very absurd manner and try do some very absurd things, not doing what I'm supposed to do, right? Yeah. So similarly, now, because we are in the material body, we are being called like that compared to ghosts or disease influence of disease, forgetful living entity. So why we are being compared like that?
Because we have forgotten Krishna.
Yeah, we
And
have
we have forgotten
our
our true identity, that we are soul.
That's right. That's right. We are thinking, we are firmly believing that I'm this body. And so whatever I am doing right now, this is who I am. And this is, permanent thing that I should be doing. But yes, as you rightly said, we have forgotten our original true identity,
And
our
because
original
Ghost doesn't think,
activities.
and because Ghost doesn't think there is God,
Yeah,
God doesn't
yeah,
exist.
yeah, yeah,
Right? So
yeah,
that's why
it's
it's
true.
compared. Yeah, because we've got it. So
Yeah.
then we are ghosts. Right.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. So we'll read on the purport. Under the influence of material nature, the conditioned soul becomes absorbed in material consciousness. In this consciousness, whatever is done under the influence of the material energy is accepted by the conditioned soul as self-actuated. Actually, the soul in its pure state of existence should be in Krishna consciousness. When a person is not acting in Krishna consciousness, he is understood to be acting in material consciousness. Consciousness cannot be killed, for the symptom of the living entity is consciousness. The material consciousness simply has to be purified. One becomes liberated by accepting Krishna or the Supreme Lord as master, and by changing the mode of consciousness from material consciousness to Krishna consciousness. So as we said, now we have become conditioned. We are thinking, I'm this body, whatever I'm doing, this is permanent. And so this is material consciousness. We have forgotten our true identity, that is Krishna consciousness. We have forgotten. Actually, we have all Krishna conscious. We are all Krishna conscious, but right now we are all become material conscious. And here Prabhupada is bringing up a very important point. Consciousness cannot be killed. Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita that the soul is eternal, aja, purano, ever existing, primeval, cannot be killed. We cannot think that, oh, once I give up this body, oh, I don't exist anymore. Oh, I'm liberated means I don't exist anymore. If we think that, again means we think we are the body. Again, we are not able to understand that the soul is not material. The soul is spiritual. So it's the soul. The soul cannot be killed. The consciousness, the individuality cannot be killed. So this consciousness has to be purified. We just simply have to accept Krishna or the Supreme Lord as master, and we will change our consciousness from material to spiritual. Then how to do that? How to do that? Now we are thinking we are the master. Who is God? I'm God. That's what we are thinking. So how do we change our consciousness to our original consciousness?
By hearing and chanting.
Yeah, repeatedly, yes. Repeatedly, regularly. Continuing to hearing and chanting. Continue. So we compare to being possessed by ghosts. We have forgotten who we truly are, and we are thinking, I'm the body. So tad asya samsritir bandha paratantriyam cha tatkritam bhavati akartur ishasya sakshi no nivritatmanaha. Material consciousness is the cause of one's conditional life, in which conditions are enforced upon the living entity by the material energy. Although the spirit soul does not do anything and is transcendental to such activities, he is thus affected by conditional life. The Mayavadi philosopher, who does not differentiate between the supreme spirit and the individual spirit, says that the conditional existence of the living entity is lila or pastime. But the word pastime implies employment in the activities of the Lord. The Mayavadis misuse the word and say that even if the living entity has become a stool-eating hog, he is also enjoying his pastimes. This is a most dangerous interpretation. So we can't think that I'm God and that every living entity is God. And oh, but now you've forgotten, now why you're suffering. Now you're doing almost kind of abominable activities. Oh no, it's my pastime. It's my pastime. So if I'm eating stool, then it's my pastime. But that is misinterpreting. This is not what it is supposed to be. You know, the Supreme Lord can never forget his identity. He's never ever going to forget himself. Yeah, he always remembers he's the Supreme Lord. Maya is not bigger than the Supreme Lord. Actually, the Supreme Lord is the leader and maintainer of all living entities. His pastimes are transcendental to any material activity. So, Krishna, in the Katha Upanishad, it is stated, Nityo Nityanam Chetanas Chetananam Eko Bahunam Yovedadati Kama. There are many, many eternals. And amongst those eternal, there is one eternal who's maintaining all other eternals. Means there are many, many living entities, many souls. Out of all these souls, there is one supreme soul who's maintaining all the other souls. So Krishna, the Supreme Lord, God, is the leader, is the maintainer of all living entities, and his pastimes are not material. His pastimes are not material. His activities are not material. Such pastimes of the Lord cannot be dragged to the level of the conditional activities of the living entities. In conditional life, the living entity actually remains as if a captive in the hands of material energy. Whatever the material energy dictates, the conditioned soul does. He has no responsibility. He is simply the witness of the action, but he is forced to act in that way due to his offense to his eternal relationship with Krishna. So what happens that we are forced inside a particular body, and that particular body is under the particular modes of nature. As we say, the dog, we have been in a dog body also and human body also. When we were in dog body, we were walking on 4 legs, eating directly, put the mouth in the food. Now we are human beings, we walk on 2 legs, we take fork and spoon, sit on a table, cook our food, eat nice prasadam, you know. So we are captive. We don't understand this. But based on what body we are forced into, we act according to that, although we are the soul. You know, we are the soul. Even when we are in the body of the tree, we say, oh yes, I'm a tree. I must stand here for thousands of years. I'm a tree. But I'm the soul actually. But we keep forgetting and we keep acting as the different body. But Krishna, when he comes, even Krishna comes in all the species, but he never forgets himself. He never thinks himself, yes, I'm a tree. Yes, I'm a dog. No, no. Or yes, I'm a hog. We see Lord Varahadev, he came in the body of a boar, but his activities are transcendental, right? That he lifted Mother Earth, all the demigods are praying to him. The hairs that fell off from his body became the kusha grass, which is used for worshipping, you know. So the Lord is transcendental. He's not under the laws. The Lord Krishna therefore says in Bhagavad Gita that Maya, his material energy, is so forceful that it is unsurmountable. But if a living entity simply understands that his constitutional position is to serve Krishna, and he tries to act on this principle, then however conditioned he may be, the influence of Maya immediately vanishes. This is clearly stated in Bhagavad Gita, 7th chapter. Krishna says that Devi hi esha gunamai mam maya duratyaya mam eva ye prapadyante mayam etam tarantite. He says this divine energy of mine, which consists of 3 modes of material nature, is very difficult to overcome. He says it's very difficult to overcome this divine energy of mine. But those who have surrendered unto me can very easily cross beyond it. So if we really want liberation, we really want to be situated in our original position, we simply have to surrender to Krishna. And he will bring us out of this material world. That's the shortest, the easiest way. That's the only way. He says, you can easily cross beyond this material ocean. He says, easily, just surrender to me. That's why he says, surrender, Bhagavad Gita 1866. So we just have to understand that our constitutional position in relation to Krishna is to serve Krishna. Krishna is the Supreme Lord. We are his parts and parcels. The spirit soul is actually Satchidananda, eternal, full of bliss and full of knowledge. Under the clutches of Maya, however, he suffers from continued birth, death, old age, and disease. One has to be serious to cure this condition of material existence and transfer himself to Krishna consciousness, for thus his long suffering may be mitigated without difficulty. In summary, the suffering of the conditioned soul is due to his attachment to material nature. This attachment should thus be transferred from matter to Krishna. So we are the soul. We are Satchid Ananda, eternal, full of bliss and full of knowledge. But right now, we keep thinking we are the body. And so we are going from one body to another. We are very attached to matter. We just have to change this attachment, transfer this attachment. Soul can never be detached. When I say, oh, I'm detached. Oh, what are you detached from? You know, oh, I'm detached from this, I'm detached to that. Then I'm attached to the idea of being detached. You see, so we can never be detached as such. We only have to change our attachment from matter to Krishna. And because Krishna consciousness is our original position. So this material body that we have, it is a disease. We have a disease right now, and that disease is called material disease. What is that disease? We are very attached to matter. So we have to cure the disease. We have to cure this disease and revive our original Krishna consciousness, which very easily can be revived through hearing and chanting. Is that okay?
Yes.
Anyone wanted to add anything?
No, very nice. Very well explained.
Yeah, Prabhupada's purports are amazing, no?
Mm.
Yeah, Prabhupada's purports are really amazing. So we have to continue hearing, chanting, satatam, you know, just continue hearing and chanting, and our this disease will be cured.
So satatam means hear and chant.
Satatam, it like, you know, constant. Satatam,
Constant, repeat.
like constant, okay. Yeah.
Constant, yeah.
Hearing and chanting. Constant, regular. Not that, oh, yes, I heard today, so I will not hear for 10 days. So I chanted today, I will not chant for 10 days. Continuous, constant hearing and chanting. Regular hearing and chanting. So we'll stop here for today. Thank you so much for joining us. Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Gaur Bhakta Vrinda ki jai, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.